Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Mark Lin. Namaskar. Coming up in the next hour. India's Ministry of Defence says Operation Sindoor marks a turning point in India's defence doctrine with services synergy, strategic depth and technological dominance. Suspected ISI spy is arrested from Moradabad in India by the Uttar Pradesh Anti-Terrorist Squad. IMF imposes 11 stringent conditions on Pakistan for release of next tranche of bailout funds, deepening its economic and political woes. US President Trump to talk to the Russian President Vladimir Putin on the phone. Ukraine's ceasefire to be in focus. Former US President Joe Biden is diagnosed with an aggressive late-stage prostate cancer that has spread to his bones. In a powerful testament to the Indian Army's vigilance and strength, soldiers deployed along the international border in Amritsar shared critical updates on Operation Sindoor. Pakistan's nefarious designs were foiled by the ever-alert Indian Army and its unmatched air defense systems deployed in frontline areas. Indian soldiers have now revealed that they thwarted an infiltration attempt on the night of May 8 and 9. Highlighting the effectiveness of India's defense system, another soldier stated that the army was prepared for retaliatory Pakistani strikes after India decimated terror infrastructure on May 7. While it was predicted that Pakistan would retaliate by targeting air bases and military installations, some kamikaze drones, surface-to-surface and air-to-surface missiles were launched directly at the Golden Temple. After failing to damage air bases and military installations for about 3 days, Pakistan began targeting civilian areas, including the Golden Temple, with kamikaze drones and rockets. However, all air raids were intercepted and shot down with great precision.
India's strong and decisive leadership, sharp diplomacy, economic prowess, and military capability manifested in achievement of all political and military objectives with consummate professionalism and scoring an emphatic and decisive victory as part of Operation Sindoor. This should dissuade Pakistan military from any further misadventure. Moreover, Indian armed forces are acutely aware of Pakistan military shortcomings, compulsions and all pressure points. If Pak military tries any misadventure, it will do it to its complete peril, and are fully prepared and motivated armed forces with modern weapons and superior combat capability will give it an annihilating response next time. Our whole-of-nation approach and comprehensive national power will ensure complete destruction of Pakistan if needed. Operation Sindoor has just paused. It has not yet completed. Its full force manifestation with deadly violence is still pending.
Well, Amritpal Singh, our correspondent, now joins us from Chandigarh with more on the story. Amrit, what is the level of protection around the Golden Temple in Amritsar?
Okay, Mark, as the General said, the 15th Infantry Div GOC in his briefing said that, when they struck targets inside Pakistan on the 7th early morning, they knew there would be retaliation from Pakistan. And, retaliation at both civilian areas, areas of importance, areas of religious significance, because one of the elements of Pakistan's attack was to sow a certain amount of communal discord in India, as the Foreign Secretary has already made it clear in his briefings. Now, if you look at the area around the Golden Temple 1 is an area of importance. It is a shrine where lakhs of people visit, not thousands, lakhs visit every single day, right from morning till throughout the night, because it's open 24 hours. Also, if you look at the area surrounding Golden Temple, it's right in the heart of the city. It is a very congested residential area. There are, alleys and lanes around that complex of the Golden Temple. Now, they were expecting Pakistan to retaliate. Therefore, the forward location, the 15th Infantry Div, which is a part of the 11th Corps or Jalandhar-based corps that we have, which sits right opposite the Lahore Corps. They knew that Lahore Corps would strike back. So they had employed AD systems and given an umbrella cover to Golden Temple, because had Golden Temple been hit, apart from its symbolic significance showing communal discord in India, it could have led to a massive destruction in the civilian area. So they employed AD defense cover, our L-70 AD guns of the army, also shielded by the Akash missiles, which both the Corps and the Div had employed, and also flanked by, if you look at the location, you have Wantipura on one side, Bathinda Air Base on one side, the Amritsar Air Base on one side, and the Adampur Air Base at a certain depth. So the integrated air control and command system was pretty much activated, securing Amritsar, given its strategic location. And they were expecting this sort of an attack from the Pakistanis. The Pakistanis resorted to exactly that in the intervening night of 7th, of 8th and 9th, a day after the Indians had struck targets inside Pakistan, especially because they had hit Muridke, which is just off Lahore. So, the very fact that their AD guns were able to neutralize all incoming projectiles speaks of the good deployment that they did, speaks of the good tech int that they had, and speaks about the good human int, because if they have assets in your country, you have assets in their country. Right. So you knew exactly from tech int and human that what the Pakistani army was going to do. You were prepared for that when their incoming drones, UAVs, UCAVs, unmanned aerial vehicles and projectiles and long-range missiles came in. Your Akash missiles, your L-70 guns took them on and neutralized everything. The only thing that happened was it, of course, created some amount of panic. Some debris fell on the residential areas, but no direct hit, and therefore no losses to civilian life in the area, though some were injured, Mark.
Right. Talking about civilian life, you did mention how the military is prepared, but how watchful are people for the potential drone and other strikes, given how close Amritsar is to Lahore?
Oh, Amritsar sits right across Lahore. As the crow flies, you just need it's just about 30 miles between the two cities. In fact, they used to be called twin cities in undivided India, when Lahore was the center of trade and Amritsar was the next outpost to Lahore. The district administration was prepared. They had done drills. They had imposed blackouts. The people were moved into depth from the border villages. The BSF was taking no chances. The BSF was on high alert. As I said, the air assets were deployed. The ground troops assets of the Indian Army were deployed. So even today, the area is taking no chances. About 2 to 3 hours of blackouts are imposed if drones are sighted. Drones were sighted immediately after the understanding was reached. Now those instances have come down, but there's no letting up either into troops deployment or by the vigil by the BSF, which is our border guarding force at the border, Mark.
We'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Amritpal Singh, for joining us and putting that into perspective from Chandigarh. Moving on to our next story, the Ministry of Defence said that Operation Sindoor marked a turning point in India's defence doctrine, demonstrating tri-services synergy, strategic depth and technological dominance in response to the Pahalgam terror attack. Operation Sindoor aimed at dismantling terror infrastructure across the line of control and deep inside Pakistan. India executed precision airstrikes on key targets like Noor Khan and Rahim Yar Khan air bases, deployed a carrier battle group for naval dominance and coordinated Army BSF ground operations demonstrating multi-domain warfare. The strikes on terror sites happened on the May 7th and also in response to the April 22 Pahalgam attack. That was when it happened. Now, the operation was supported by the integrated systems like IACCS and Akash missiles, alongside reforms including CDS-led DMA, integrated theatre commands, joint logistics nodes, and joint exercises like the Prachand Prahar and Desert Hunt. Now, Pakistan retaliated with attacks on Indian air bases and logistics hubs, but India neutralized them with a multi-layered air defense system. The army played key defensive and offensive roles, working with the Air Force to counter drones and loitering munitions. The Navy also secured control over the seas, showcasing its anti-missile and anti-aircraft capabilities in a complex threat environment. The Indian Army's Western Command has shared a new video of Operation Sindoor, showcasing military's high and accurate precision strikes, intercepting drones and missiles from Pakistan. In a post on X, the Army posted, and I quote, "From the ground, we protected the skies." In another video shared earlier, the Western Command said Operation Sindoor planned, trained and executed. Justice served, demonstrating India's military capabilities and response to terrorist threats. India launched Operation Sindoor in response to the Pahalgam terror attack, which claimed 26 lives. The operation targeted terrorist infrastructure in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Major General Dr. Bipin Bakshi, retired, a defense expert, is with us now to help us understand the broader implications of Operation Sindoor. Thank you, General Bakshi. Now, in what way did Operation Sindoor, in your opinion, redefine India's approach to cross-border threats and has given us a new normal for a defense doctrine?
So, well, you've been hearing the recent videos released. You've just been playing them. It shows that while earlier we have already conveyed much of this, our actions have already conveyed it. But today we are releasing these videos, I would presume, because we want to continue to convey this message from our side of our readiness, our capability, and it is also partially a response to the fact that Pakistan continues to portray a lot of lies. We have been seeing in the past few days, they are portraying victory in this exchange. Their operation, they say, defeated Op Sindoor. So they have this, peculiar habit of the notion of victory. They will pick on some small thing which in all likelihood would be false, and they would convey to their own public a notion of victory, whereas actually, in fact, a couple of anchors earlier to ask me that, sir, they lost in 1948, they could not capture, they lost 65, they lost half of the country in 71. In 1999, they tried to wrest parts of Kargil, they failed. When they have been failing repeatedly, why are they going on trying in this manner? So what I told them that time too, and what I will again amplify, that they have this rationality of irrationality. They are not rational in their approach. So when we try and look at the rationale, so we go Ori there. They say, yes, we did not win in 48, 65, 71, 99, but we did not lose either. And not losing is, not winning is not the same as losing. So they say we never lost. Their whole concept of the nationhood is based on negation, not India, not Hindu. This is what the dog whistle speech by Asif Mani said, that we are not Hindu, we are different. They have to go on proving they are different. That is one part. The other part is that the Pakistan army will not consider defeat as the failure to take Kashmir. They will take defeat if they stop trying. They have to keep trying. It is the raison d'etre of the Pakistan army.
Right.
Yes, our present posture, as you're saying, the new normal, what it has done in the last few years, we have increased the cost for them to continue their proxy war. So we did a ground assault in Uri 16. We went across the border with armed commandos, which decimated a few of their terrorist bases. It was an armed assault across the border, across the LC.
Yes.
2019, Pulwama, we had military aircraft going across the border, across the IB, all the way to Balakot. This time around, no military personnel have crossed the border. Because of our better technology, our better handling of the entire spectrum, including drones, we have been able to achieve what we need with missiles and drones in standoff attacks. So this is one major difference.
So there's a great deal of modernization is what you're saying. But, you know, how did this demonstrate India's shift towards an integrated, system of warfare? And in that respect, what is about the coordination aspects between the different services?
Yeah, so it is coming visibly to you and these questions are coming to your mind. But it is not that we did not have integration earlier.
Yes.
And it's not that we did not have air defense earlier. It is coming to the fore. It has been brought very starkly into your understanding because of the way this has all played out. Just now you were playing the video of how their multiple drones are trying to attack. We had a video released today where our army AD, you have shown a Zoo gun swiveling, that is a ZSU-23 twin gun. And over a period of time, we have integrated those Zoo guns and even the L-70 guns with the radar system. So it is not like the World War where you are taking an aircraft or an aerial target, manually aiming and trying to shoot it. That has a lot of inaccuracies. You have to take out a huge quantity of ammunition at very high rate of fire to try and hit a moving target at that distance.
Right.
But if your gun is now radar controlled, which it is, you have much better chances of hit. And you are also able to operate in the night, which is what was seen. So it has been a progressive improvement over a period of time. We were always there in this space, but now we have demonstrated.
Indeed. But General, what about Pakistan's retaliatory strikes? What does that tell us about, tell us a little bit about Pakistan's military strategy? You were mentioning, one of the questions that anchors keep asking you, why do they keep coming on despite failing every time? How did India's multi-layered defense system, in fact, neutralize these threats, and what's going to be their future strategy?
So they probably did not anticipate the lethality of the kind of weapons which we have unleashed. Multiple array of various kinds of weapons, surface-to-surface missiles, air-to-surface missiles, drones, which go and come back, are surveillance drones, and the kind of suicide drones of various kinds which we have been able to field. And we were able to overcome their air defenses in a much better manner, whereas our air defenses held up against whatever they tried to throw at us. So this technological race, what you're seeing here in the night with the radar controlled equipment, we are able to take down.
Right.
And there is also the issue of cost. Now we will not fire an S-400 at a small missile which is only 8 feet long.
Yes.
We have other ways. So that's what you were mentioning in the previous thing, the multi-layered.
Right.
It is also multiple distances and multiple kinds of targets we're able to engage. And we have a system to make sure that you don't fire a $200 million or 200 lakh rupees missile against a 20,000 rupees drone.
Indeed, absolutely. I think we'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Major General Dr. Bipin Bakshi, retired defense expert. Thank you for putting this into context for us and help us understand the Defense Ministry's statement and clarifications. Now, moving on to our next story, the Foreign Secretary, Vikram Misri, will be briefing the Standing Committee of Parliament on External Affairs on Monday on the current foreign policy developments regarding India and Pakistan. The Foreign Secretary will brief the parliamentary panel headed by the Congress Member of Parliament, Dr. Shashi Tharoor, on the developments. which were marked by India striking terror sites in Pakistan, followed by days of intense conflict between the two countries before they agreed to stop military actions. The Foreign Secretary has regularly briefed the committee on a host of foreign affairs issues, including developments in India's neighborhood like Bangladesh and its ties with Canada. The anti-terrorist squad of the North Indian state of Uttar Pradesh arrested a suspected Pakistani spy for allegedly working for Pakistan's intelligence agency and also engaging in cross-border smuggling from Moradabad. According to the UP-ATS officials, credible information was received indicating that a man operating along the India-Pakistan border was involved in smuggling activities and was being supported by Pakistani intelligence operatives. Upon further investigation, the ATS identified the suspect as Shehzad Wahab, a resident of Rampur district. The ATS said that Shehzad had travelled frequently to Pakistan over the past several years and used these trips to illegally transport goods, including cosmetics, spices, clothing and other items across the border. The officer said that Shehzad shared classified information with ISI agents and also facilitated financial transactions for Pakistani handlers operating in India. Moreover, Shehzad is suspected of recruiting individuals from Uttar Pradesh, sending them to Pakistan under the pretext of smuggling or employment, with the ultimate aim of assisting the ISI. Based on the collected evidence, the ATS registered an FIR at the ATS police station in Lucknow under relevant sections of the Bharatiya Nyay Sanhita, and including charges related to espionage and national security. He was presented before a competent court and further legal proceedings are underway. The International Monetary Fund, the IMF, has imposed 11 tough conditions on Pakistan before releasing the next tranche of its $7 billion bailout package. Now, while the IMF recently dispersed the second tranche of US dollars $1 billion under the US $7 billion bailout package, it also imposed 11 stringent conditions. Now, these conditions have further deepened Pakistan's economic and political challenges. Let's take a look at the list of the new conditions. Now, Pakistan must pass a federal budget of Pakistani rupees 17.6 trillion, which is approximately 63 billion US dollars for the fiscal year 2025-26 through Parliament by June of 2025. With Pakistan rupees 1.07 trillion allocated for development expenditure. All 4 provinces must implement a new agricultural income tax law by June 2025, ensuring the taxpayer registration, returning the return processing, as well as compliance through digital platforms. Pakistan must publish a governance action plan based on the IMF's governance diagnostic assessment to address weaknesses in governance. A long-term financial sector strategy must be developed for the post-2027 period, including regulatory and institutional reforms starting in 2028. On to international updates now. Portugal's incumbent centre-right party won the most seats in the country's third general election in 3 years on Sunday, but has again fallen short of a parliamentary majority. The near-complete official results showed that the Prime Minister Luis Montenegro's Democratic Alliance captured 32.7% of the vote, with the Socialist Party and the Chega virtually tied in second place. Luis Montenegro said he had received a clear and reinforced mandate from the Portuguese to govern despite not having won a full parliamentary majority. With all of the domestic ballots counted, electoral data showed that the AD had won 89 seats in the 230-seat parliament. Well, that's 9 more than the previous election, but the Socialists obtained just about 50,000 votes, more than the Chega, and fell to 58 seats from 78. The Socialist leader, Pedro Nuno Santos, said that he would step down.
deu voto de confiança ao governo que está em
The Portuguese do not want any more early elections. They want a 4-year legislative term and demand that everyone understand, respect, and honor their free and democratic world. It is up to the government and the Prime Minister to implement the program that was presented, fulfill the commitments that were made, and be worthy of the strength and confidence they have received from the voters.
a todos que percebam.
In a setback for Europe's surging nationalist forces, Nicolae Dan, a centrist mayor and former mathematics professor, on Sunday won the presidential election in Romania. Nicolae Dan defeated a hard-right candidate, George Simion, who is aligned with President Donald Trump and has opposed military aid to Ukraine. Dan told cheering supporters that the victory was theirs and asked them to work together to build a Romania together, with those living within the country and the diaspora. And with more than 98% of the ballots counted, the preliminary official results gave 54% of the vote in the presidential runoff to Dan. Polish liberals performed worse than expected in the presidential election on Sunday, the exit polls showed, as Rafał Trzaskowski from the ruling centrist Civic Coalition scraped to victory. According to the polls, Trzaskowski placed first with 31.2% of the vote, ahead of Karol Nawrocki, and he's the candidate who was backed by the Nationalist Law and Justice Party, who had 29.7%. Now, if confirmed, the result would mean that Trzaskowski and Nawrocki, they will be head-to-head in the runoff on June 1. The latest poll after the first round gave Trzaskowski 46% in the runoff and Nawrocki 44%, with 10% of the voters either undecided or refusing to say. So the far-right candidates, Sławomir Mencen and Grigor Braun, they scored more than 21% combined. The British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is set to host EU leaders in London on Monday in the most significant effort to reset ties since Britain left the EU in 2020 after 4 years of acrimonious talks. Starmer is trying to secure a deal that will include tangible benefits for Britons to offset the concessions that it will need to make in Brussels. So, in fact, Britain wants the deal to include the use of faster e-gates for British travellers at EU borders, reduced red tape on food trade, and also a new defence and security partnership that could allow British companies access to an EU loan scheme which is worth $167 billion. The US President Donald Trump will be speaking to the Russian President Vladimir Putin and the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, along with the North Atlantic Treaty Organization leaders, amid attempts to get a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. And he hopes for a productive day leading to the ceasefire. The Vice President J.D. Vance also met Zelensky to address the ongoing conflict and negotiations for peace. Let's look at this report.
US President Donald Trump will speak with Russian President Vladimir Putin, followed by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and the NATO leaders to push for a ceasefire deal between Russia and Ukraine. Trump has been pressuring Putin and Zelensky to agree to a ceasefire in the 3-year-old conflict. Russia and Ukraine held direct negotiations in Istanbul last week, but ceasefire eluded the final outcome. Istanbul talks kept the door for further negotiations open as both the nations agreed to hold a new round of talks and a prisoner exchange involving 1,000 people from each of the side. Ukraine's President Zelensky met US Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio after Pope Leo's inaugural Mass at the Vatican on Sunday. It was the first meeting between Zelensky and Vance since they clashed during talks at the White House in the month of February. Zelensky said the meeting was good and reaffirmed his eagerness to find a diplomatic breakthrough. Europe remains on edge due to the conflict. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, France's President Emmanuel Macron, and Poland's Prime Minister Donald Tusk also spoke with Donald Trump after the Istanbul talk. Pointing out the catastrophic cost of the conflict to both the sides, the leaders underlined the need for an unconditional ceasefire. Since taking the office in the month of January, Trump has repeatedly stressed that he wants to see an end to the conflict and has recently backed calls for an unconditional 30-day ceasefire. Bureau Report, DD India.
Still to come on DD India News Hour. Well, BRICS transport ministers, they decide to reduce fossil fuel pollution in the world. China issues multiple weather alerts, rainstorms, mountain torrents and geological disasters in several regions. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Mark Lynn. Here's a recap of the main stories. India's Ministry of Defence says that Operation Sindoor marks a turning point in India's defence doctrine with services synergy, strategic depth and technological dominance. The US President Trump will talk with Russian President Vladimir Putin on the phone. Ukraine ceasefire to be in focus. And the former US President Joe Biden has been diagnosed with an aggressive late-stage prostate cancer that spread to his bones. Well, the former US President Joe Biden has been diagnosed with an aggressive late-stage prostate cancer that has spread to his bones. The hormone-sensitive cancer is being reviewed for treatment options. The diagnosis has drawn bipartisan support and renewed focus on Biden's health during his final years in office. Now, DD India's Antra Sinha reports.
Former US President Joe Biden has been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer that has spread to his bones. The 82-year-old Democrat lost his son Beau to cancer in 2015. Biden's doctors reported that while the cancer is aggressive, it is hormone sensitive, allowing for potential management through treatment options. His office stated that he and his family are currently reviewing treatment plans with medical professionals. Biden is expected to undergo hormone therapy, which helps slow cancer growth by reducing hormone levels that can fuel the disease. Leaders cutting across party lines voiced support for Joe Biden in his fight against the deadly disease. Former US President Barack Obama, who worked with Biden on cancer research, expressed confidence in Biden's ability to fight the disease, praising his long-standing commitment to cancer treatment efforts. Kamala Harris also extended support via a post on X, stating that Joe is a fighter. US President Donald Trump also expressed his sympathy, extending his best wishes for a speedy recovery. While Biden's health has been scrutinized during his presidency, medical experts suggest that his recent decline in physical and mental acuity is unlikely linked to the cancer diagnosis. Dr. Chris George, a cancer specialist, noted that Biden's condition is manageable and while it is not curable, patients often live for several years with proper treatment.
It's not good news when anyone has cancer. There's some things about this presentation that are worrisome. Number one is under a microscope, the cancer cells appear to be aggressive. That means that the cancer is not curable. There's no treatment available that can cure the cancer.
The Americans in Washington, D.C. also expressed sadness over former U.S. President Joe Biden's cancer diagnosis.
Cancer is an enemy that we can face no matter what time. So I'm sad that he and his family have to go through this battle.
God, it's definitely troublesome, not only for him as a person. We have to remember politicians are people, in addition to being public servants. So my sincerities go out to his family.
I mean, just finding out, I feel bad for him, of course. Personally, he didn't align with my political beliefs, but I don't believe that would define the value of his life. So I'm sorry, I feel bad for him and his wife and his kids, of course.
Biden, who left office in January this year as the oldest serving president in US history, had long faced scrutiny even from within his own party over his health, age, and capacity to handle the demands of office. His diagnosis of aggressive late-stage prostate cancer now casts a new light on those concerns, underscoring the personal and political challenges he faced in his final years in public life. Antara Sinha for DD India.
Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi wished a quick and full recovery to the former US President Joe Biden, who has been diagnosed with prostate cancer. In a social media post, the Prime Minister said, and I quote, "Deeply concerned to hear about Joe Biden's health. Extend our best wishes to him for a quick and full recovery. Our thoughts are with Dr. Jill Biden and the family." The External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, will embark on a 6-day visit of the Netherlands, Denmark and Germany beginning Monday. And during his visit, the minister is expected to meet the leadership of the three countries. The External Affairs Minister, Jaishankar, will start his 6-day European tour with a visit from May 19 and will hold discussions on the entire gamut of bilateral relations and on regional as well as global matters of mutual interest. Jaishankar's Germany visit aligns with Friedrich Merz's new role as the Federal Chancellor, signaling continued commitment to India-Germany strategic partnership. And during his visit, the minister is also expected to highlight Pakistan's relentless support for cross-border terrorism. The Indian Minister for Power, Manohar Lal, is in Brazil for the BRICS Energy Ministers meeting, showcasing India's remarkable progress in the power sector over the past decade. In a heartfelt interaction with the Indian Embassy in Brasilia, the minister praised the Indian diaspora for keeping the nation's values alive despite being far away from home. He acknowledged their contributions to Brazil's growth and urged them to continue spreading Indian ideals globally. The Union Minister's visit emphasizes India's commitment to international cooperation in energy. At the BRICS Transport Ministers meeting in Brazil, the group made a historical decision, and this is to reduce fossil fuel pollution in the world. So the Union Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari, who represented India at this meeting, also spoke exclusively to DD India, and he said that New Delhi will definitely try to be carbon neutral by 2070 as per the vision of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Let's listen.
ब्रिक्स मीटिंग में जो ब्रिक्स के मेंबर हैं उनमें ट्रांसपोर्ट मंत्रियों की कॉन्फ्रेंस हुई और उसका एजेंडा था कि ट्रांसपोर्ट मिनिस्ट्री को ट्रांसपोर्ट सेक्टर में चाहे एविएशन हो, शिपिंग हो, हमारे रोड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में फॉसिल फ्यूल यूज करते हैं, इन सब में जो प्रदूषण होता है, एयर पोल्यूशन, इसको हम कार्बन को किस प्रकार से कम करें, कार्बन एमिशन को कैसे ख़त्म करें, ये विषय मीटिंग का था। और इसमें काफ़ी अच्छा चर्चाएं हुई और सब देशों ने मिलकर एक कॉमन रेजोल्यूशन भी पास किया है। उसके आधार पर आने वाले समय में बायोफ्यूल को बहुत बड़ा प्रोत्साहन देने का सब ब्रिक्स देशों ने एक संकल्प किया है और पूरे हमारे विश्व को हम प्रदूषण से मुक्त करें, इस प्रकार का भाव सबके मन में था और निर्धार था। एक बहुत बड़ा अच्छा हिस्टोरिकल रेजोल्यूशन हुआ है और मुझे लगता है कि इकोलॉजी एंड एनवायरनमेंट के क्षेत्र में प्रदूषण को कम करने की दृष्टि से एक बहुत बड़ी पहल ब्रिक्स देशों ने की है। आने वाले समय में जो प्रधानमंत्री जी का सपना है कि 2070 तक हम हिंदुस्तान को कार्बन न्यूट्रल बनाएंगे, वो निश्चित रूप से पूरा करने की कोशिश भारत भी करेगा, क्योंकि ब्राज़ील ऐसा देश है कि उसने पहली बार शुगर केन जूस से मोलाइसिस से इथेनॉल बनाया और यहाँ फ्लेक्स इंजन पर पेट्रोल के जगह पर 100% इथेनॉल पर गाड़ियाँ चल रही है फ्लेक्स इंजन पर। मैंने यहाँ सब विजिट की, लोगों से चर्चा की, ऑटोमोबाइल मैन्युफैक्चर किया गया था, एसोसिएशन में बातचीत हुई और हिंदुस्तान में भी हम ये कर रहे हैं। ये पूरे अनुभव का हमको बहुत उपयोग होगा। एविएशन फ्यूल भी आगे चलकर एक एजेंडा है कि बायो एविएशन फ्यूल कैसे बनाए। इन सब के लिए एक नई दिशा हमारे सबको, हमारे डेलीगेशन को यहाँ से मिली है और मेरा विश्वास है कि निश्चित रूप से आने वाले समय में हिंदुस्तान में भी इस दिशा में प्रयास होगा। मुझे आज विशेष रूप से खुशी हुई कि यहाँ जो इंडियन कम्युनिटी है उनके साथ भी बैठकर वो यहाँ बहुत अच्छा कार्य कर रहे हैं, उनके साथ भी वार्तालाप करने का मौका मिला है। इतने दूर रहकर भारतीय संस्कृति को कायम रखते हुए अपनी कर्मभूमि ब्राज़ील को मानकर वो अपने कर्तव्यों का पालन कर रहे हैं और यहाँ भी उन्होंने अपनी संस्कृति और हमारी विरासत को कायम रखा है। इसकी मुझे बहुत खुशी है और आज ये सभी कार्यक्रमों से निश्चित रूप से मुझे व्यक्तिगत रूप से बहुत आनंद आया और मैंने हमारी सरकार की ओर से और प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी की ओर से और हम सब की ओर से यहाँ के भारतीय समुदाय को शुभकामनाएं और शुभेच्छाएं दी।
Well, on to the weather update now, and heavy rainfall continues to disrupt normal life in several regions across the country. And in South India, in the state of Karnataka, intense downpours have led to severe waterlogging and rainwater entering in houses. An upper air cyclonic circulation is likely to form over the east-central Arabian Sea off the Karnataka coast around May 21. Under its influence, a low-pressure area is also expected to develop over the same region by May 22, which may move to northwards and intensify further. The central state of Maharashtra is witnessing widespread pre-monsoon rains with thunderstorms and gusty winds. So unseasonal rains have caused waterlogging in Sangli, and a 17-year-old has died from a lightning being struck by lightning in Jalna. Also, hailstorms were reported in Gansavangi, while Ahliya Nagar also saw heavy showers. Rain and strong winds may continue over the next 2 days. In Himachal Pradesh, heavy rains and thunderstorms have affected several districts, with the IMD issuing an orange alert for 7 districts, warning of hailstorms, thunderstorms and gusty winds. Well, the India Meteorological Department has issued a red alert for heavy to very heavy rainfall across Karnataka, Konkan, Goa, Kerala and adjoining areas. This is from May 18 to 24. This upper air cyclonic circulation and a trough, they are what is fueling, these things are fueling intense showers. The IMD also warns of isolated hailstorms in Himachal Pradesh on May 19 and in Uttarakhand on May 19 and 20. Conditions are now favorable for the southwest monsoon to advance over the South Arabian Sea, signaling more widespread rain across the southern part of India.
The kind of weather vagaries that is happening in the country. With me, senior scientist Mr. Akhil Srivastava, sir. First and foremost, welcome to Doordarshan. We are seeing this whole map here. It's either orange or yellow warning, apart from this Gujarat area. But the main point is that about Bangalore and the kind of rain is happening in Bangalore and Goa area, isn't it?
Yes, actually we are expecting very heavy rainfall activity during next 5 days over west coast and adjoining southwestern India, which includes particularly Kerala, Karnataka, Konkan and Goa, Madhya Maharashtra. We have also issued red warning for Karnataka for tomorrow and day after tomorrow, where we are expecting isolated extremely heavy rainfall to occur, may occur.
This is the area you are actually
Yes, this is the area where we're talking about for the extremely heavy rainfall activity. It includes entire west coast, that is Konkan, Goa, coastal Karnataka, south India Karnataka, north India Karnataka, and in Kerala.
We're also seeing a lot of cyclonic circulation in the upper atmosphere for Delhi and northwest part of the country. Here also, what is the scenario? Is there a WD coming?
Yes, actually there is the cyclonic circulation over western northwest parts of the country, and we are expecting, that's why we are expecting also thunderstorm activity with gusty winds 30 to 40 km per hour to continue over this particular region during next 5 days.
Okay, last question I need to ask you. There is, we were told that in the Arabian Sea there is a system that is getting generated for becoming a cyclone. What is the scenario on that?
No, it's not exactly a cyclone as of now. What we are expecting is on 21st of this month, we are expecting upper air cyclone circulation to form over east central Arabian Sea. 21st of May near Karnataka coast. It is likely to become, and likelihood of a low pressure area to form on 22nd of May over the same region is expected, and we are expecting it to move northwards and intensify further.
Intensify further northward towards the Gujarat, North Maharashtra region, is it?
Yeah, actually still it is too early to say. We will again update it regularly. Yeah.
But the main thing is that the whole this coastal region, which is including Bangalore as well as Goa, this is the place where incessant rain is currently happening, and IMD is stating that it will take place for the next 4 to 5 days further. This is Tapush Bhattacharya for DD India from Delhi.
Well, China issued multiple weather alerts on Sunday, warning of rainstorms, mountain torrents and geological disasters in several regions. The National Meteorological Center in China has issued multiple warnings of heavy rains in Jiangxi, Zhenjiang, Fujian, Guangxi, Guangdong and the northwestern province of Xinjiang. A yellow alert signifies a relatively high risk of mountain flooding as well. So, according to the state broadcaster in China, heavy rain was also expected from Monday to Tuesday in areas including the far western region of Xinjiang along the Tian Shan Mountains. And the US also is witnessing severe storms which tore through the states of Missouri, Kentucky as well as Colorado, leaving 25 people dead, leveling homes and businesses which were suffering because power was knocked out and tens of thousands were suffering, authorities have said. So Kentucky was the hardest hit as a devastating tornado damaged hundreds of homes, tossed vehicles about and left many homeless. At least 19 people were killed, most of them in southeastern Laurel County. Well, dramatic footage caught by an eyewitness shows a tornado sweeping through the Colorado town of Bennett, leaving a trail of destruction at a solar farm and also surrounding properties. The Arapahoe Sheriff's Office has reported 17 buildings, including 6 homes and a solar farm, being damaged in Bennett. According to local officials, St. Louis braced for another round of severe weather after a tornado tore through the city a day earlier, killing at least 5 people, injuring dozens and damaging thousands of properties. City officials said that they had declared a state of emergency and begun coordinating cleanup and aid efforts, warning residents to stay clear of unstable buildings and downed power lines. Still to come here on DD India News Hour, Lucknow Super Giants will face Sunrisers Hyderabad in a do-or-die IPL match today. In golf, Scotty Scheffler has won the PGA Championship by 5 strokes on Sunday. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Mark Lynn. The Indian benchmark indices, they opened on a cautious note on Monday amidst cues of sluggish trends. This is because of the US markets. Now, the Sensex at the BSE had slipped 141 points and it was trading at 82,189, and the Nifty on the National Stock Exchange continued to trade around 25,000 a short while ago. Defense stocks continue to remain in focus after a record move last week. The new week begins for Dalal Street with major developments over the weekend, including a credit rating downgrade for the US by Moody's, which has sent the futures of the Dow Jones and other indices lower and also pushed gold prices up. Now, gold prices jumped by around 16 rupees. That's about 1.7% to hit a day high of 94,031 rupees per 10 grams on safe haven demand. Well, silver was also up 331 rupees or 0.35% per kg, and it now is at about 95,649 rupees per kg. In the US stock index, the futures stock index, the futures fell on Monday while Treasury yields rose after the ratings agency Moody's had downgraded the country's sovereign rating by one notch due to concerns about the nation's growing 36 trillion debt pile. The Sri Lankans, they are facing a severe salt shortage, with retail prices of salt surging 3 to 4 times because of disrupted local production and slow import processing. The import of salt has been a way forward, as only 23% of the expected harvest has been possible. Now, Salt Producers Association, they've blamed delays in clearing 30,000 metric tons of non-iodized salt imports. The government officials say that a shipment from India is expected soon, with prices likely to stabilize within 2 weeks. Now, the National Salt Limited has attributed the crisis to heavy rains during the Yala harvest. Only 8,000 metric tons were collected instead of the expected 35,000 metric tons. Rain has also washed away over 15,000 metric tons of ready salt. Puttalam, which accounts for 60% of the national salt output, has been the hardest hit. Authorities hope that the revived Elephant Pass salt ton and the upcoming Maha harvest are expected to improve supply by July. Okay, let's get you some sports news now. And the world number 3 in tennis, Carlos Alcaraz, lifted the Italian Open by defeating the world number 1, Yannick Sinner, in straight sets in the final. Alcaraz won his 3rd title of the season just before the French Open, which starts next week. The Spaniard claimed victory in his 4th final of the season and fired a warning message to the rest of the men's tour for Roland Garros, where he is going to defend his title. I mean, that's what he hopes. Now, Sinner tops the world rankings, but his 26-match winning streak ended when Alcaraz beat him. Also, the man who had last beaten him in the China Open final. The Lucknow Super Giants will face Sunrisers Hyderabad in a do-or-die match in Lucknow on Monday. 3 defeats on the trot and 4 in the last 5 have left the LSG's knockout hopes hanging by the thinnest of threads. So Lucknow needs to win all 3 remaining matches, starting with a clash against Sunrisers Hyderabad, and hope also for teams above them to stumble for an improbable top 4 finish. Super Giants currently sit 7th on the table, having won 5 and having lost 6 of their 11 matches so far. Already out of the race, Sunrisers will be playing for pride and aiming to end their season on a positive note. And earlier on Sunday, Gujarat Titans qualified for the playoffs by beating Delhi Capitals by 10 wickets at the Arun Jaitley Stadium. In golf, Scotty Scheffler has won the PGA Championship by 5 strokes at the Quail Hollow Club. This happened on Sunday after he survived a mid-round scare from John Rahm. It wasn't an easy win for him, but the 28-year-old Scheffler collected his 3rd major title with an even par 71. That was enough for the Olympic champion to pick up the huge Wanamaker trophy. He finished at 11 under, which was a total score of 273, while the fellow Americans Bryson DeChambeau and Harris English and Davis Riley tied for the second place with 6 under. The world number 1 Scheffler previously won 2022 and 2024 Masters. Lisbon turned green as fans celebrated Sporting CP's victorious triumph over Vitória Guimarães, making them the Primeira Liga champions. Sporting finished as table toppers with 82 points in a closely contested race, finishing 2 points ahead of the city rivals Benfica. This marked Sporting's 21st league title. That's all we have in this edition of DD India News Hour. Let's know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, get the latest news and updates on the DD India mobile app. Available on Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code and download it now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Mark Lynn. Thank you very much for watching. Namaskar.